Small world music has been around for almost 24 years. We are heading into our 25th anniversary year, and for the most of our history, we are a presenter of music. The specific types of music that Small World has been presenting all along is culturally diverse music, so music of different immigrant and racialized indigenous communities. We don't put on shows just for entertainment purposes, although that's considered why concerts are done. Our bottom line is actually building social cohesion, and what I mean by that is, if you look around the world, even our neighboring countries here, there's a lot of social divides based on our differences, our skin colors, our languages, our beliefs, etc. So using music as a tool to celebrate differences and as a common connector for humanity helps us to make the society more cohesive and accepting and open. So in a way, yes, we're putting on concerts which are entertaining, but the bottom line impact is much deeper than that. Small world music has three pillars of activity. One is presenting concerts. So essentially for an artist, if you are a BIPOC artist or in the diverse music realm, connect with us and we would give you an opportunity to perform at a festival, at our show. So that's the most basic one. The other two pillars are slightly more sophisticated. So the second pillar is professional development, and we have a program that helps emerging artists, refugee artists and newcomer artists to integrate better into the Canadian music industry.
When I went back to Uganda and I shared the Small World Music Festival with the people in Uganda, and they played the festival on TV in my village in the district, oh my God, my life was completely changed, and also changed the lives of my people, because that is hope. If me, a regular Ugandan, can come here and start my life here in music, it is quite an inspiration to the rest of my community.
Continue surviving is super challenging because, as a newcomer, we don't have the language to write a grant. It's super challenging because a musician, you could reach out to them. Venue, you could rent. But how to continue surviving, that is super challenging.
Exactly.
The program is called Emergence. Canada attracts amazing talent from across the world, artistic talents, business talent, etc. What happens is, in the business sector, these musicians who are huge deals in their own countries and regions sometimes come here and are stuck driving Ubers or cleaning dishes, etc., because they can't just figure out the sector. So our program is essentially an integration program where we don't teach you music. That's a different thing. We teach you the business of music, making contacts, knowing how to do grants, etc. So if you find that you're in that category, it's also for young and emerging artists, the same program. You can apply for it. And the third is, we've got a space in downtown Toronto on Queen West. It's called the Small World Centre. It's essentially a community hub and a studio. And it's highly subsidized, so it's actually the most affordable professional venue and studio in the city. And for BIPOC, emerging, marginalized, 2S, LGBTQ plus artists especially, it's a resource you can use to record your first album, to launch your show, and now because of COVID, everything's cancelled, so it's now a space that you can broadcast from, a performance, live, multi-camera, the whole deal.
Hi everyone, my name is Shaka V. Greer, and I am the host of this panel.
So what are some of the access opportunities that COVID has shown us?
As most of you know, Global Toronto is not just another conference to do business. Rather, it's a place to make deep relationships and have meaningful exchanges. This is very much inspired from the millennia-long tradition of the first peoples of this land, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, Mississaugas of the New Credit, and Huron-Wendat. who use this place, Takaranto, or Toronto as we know it today, to gather. And so, we gather here, in this place, in this space, and on this platform, to make deep connections with each other, and to have exchanges that make the music ecosystem more sustainable, accessible, inclusive, and equitable for all.
Hi, my name is Mercedes Kasha, Head of Programs here at Small World Music. We're so excited to launch the 2021 edition of Global Toronto and build upon last year's success, where over 800 of us got together from 75 different countries to acknowledge opportunities and envision the future, guided by 3 fundamental principles: sustainability, equity, and accessibility. Fruitful conversations and topics were explored in a safe and welcoming space for artists and industry professionals who were gracious enough to share their lived experiences and their motivations for change in the industry for a more equitable future. We now look to some of the practical approaches. Who is doing what? How can we learn from each other and get inspired by others? Let us explore opportunities for collaboration. In that spirit, the Global Toronto team did not go the route of selecting an artistic programmer or a programming director. But instead, we engaged 3 amazing individuals to guide us in the overall programming of this year's conference and have set out our new theme: Now What? Making Space and Enacting Change. They are diligently working with us to ensure that we have a great cross-section of voices, experiences, and goals from the work that they are doing. And finally, we are so happy that this year's spotlight artists who are showcasing at Global Toronto 2021 were selected by a jury of industry professionals, from agents to presenters and media, who had the pleasant yet daunting task of narrowing down from over 250 artist applications. Thank you so much to all of those who applied. We are so grateful that you put your trust in us. The jury deliberated and came up with a short list of 22 artists, 18 national artists and 4 international artists.
Soy Luisa Piñeros, periodista musical. Los saludo desde Colombia y estoy muy feliz de haber hecho parte de los jurados que estuvimos seleccionando a los artistas que este año 2021 van a ser parte de nuestra GT21. Feliz de haber encontrado tanta música. No se imaginan ustedes lo sorprendente que fue recibir más de 200 aplicaciones y en cada uno ver un pedacito de mundo, un pedacito de fusión y mucha fuerza, mucha raíz en la música. Demasiado talento el que hay y ustedes van a ser los más beneficiados con toda esta selección de artistas que hemos hecho para este año 2021. Así que gracias a la GT21, a ustedes por estar ahí conectados con nosotros, que la música no pare, que la música siga, y esta ha sido una de las bonitas experiencias que he tenido.
My name is Pratishtha Kohli. I am a researcher, educator, performing arts administrator, and the founder of the Taus Initiative, which is a Toronto-based music collective that highlights the work of South Asian artists, both Canada and globally. I'm one of the programming committee members of Global Toronto 2021. We're going to be using this year to explore our themes of making space and enacting change. Our role in this conference was to build upon the work that began in last year's conference. We wanted to focus on themes such as sustainability, accessibility, and intersectionality, furthering the work that is being done by equity-deserving communities, while also dismantling oppressive influences and institutions and systems that hold us in the places we're currently at. We love for you to be a part of these conversations. We want you to learn with us, and more importantly, to share your knowledge with us. Through this conference, we're hoping to move beyond talking about building our own tables and move into ways in which we can sustainably enact lasting change within the global music industry. So please register, join us, and journey with us as we ask, now what?
live music sector has especially been devastated in that there has been a lot of cancellations, and especially in Ontario in this year, we even had restrictions on live streaming and recording. So everything was practically shut down for several months. This impacts the communities we work with, the communities of artists and industry professionals. Obviously, the direct impact is cancellation of performances, etc. But the deeper impact is that livelihoods are affected for the long term. So as we know, not just artists, but other industry roles like technicians, like experts, it's all gig work. So no one has, or most people do not have permanent jobs. So their reliance on gigs and shows and festivals is very high. Looking past the pandemic, the music industry should really recognize that the industry is not ideal. It was not built for everyone. It was not built to be equitable and inclusive. And during the pandemic, those people who were usually already not on the tables, already not part of conversations, have been further marginalized, isolated, and left behind. So I feel that it's a chance for the overall music industry to pause and reflect. We hear a lot of people saying we'll go back to the normal. I want to ask the question, was it ever normal? Who was it normal for? Who were the people who were never, included in the systems and the processes when they were being designed? So let's not go back to the normal. Let's take this time that we've got as a pause in our lives and our work to really see how we can go back to a new paradigm shift where at the core we keep the people and the voices that have not been involved when the music sector was going full speed ahead.
I don't know if I'm explaining this properly, but I think that the biggest problem with the arts industry right now is that we forget that we're dealing with people. We're forgetting that we're dealing with like emotional, complex, highly contextual needs and requirements. And these are human beings. And if we appeal to the human nature of them, if we see them as people, a lot of these bigger issues, I think, start to disintegrate. Because you're not going to try to harm somebody. You're not going to try to not represent them properly. You're not going to not try to pay them properly because you're like, oh, right, they deserve this because they're people and they need to survive.